God bless you, everybody. I just want to come on real quick tonight, this Thursday. I'm not actually going to do a full service. I just have a couple quick announcements. Um, Appreciate the prayers, everybody. I had a procedure done today, just a good old fashioned rotor-rooter. Those of you that know, uh, to put it simply, it was a colonoscopy. Dad had some uh, had colon cancer in my checkups. Had some pre-cancer um, things that were taken off years ago, just doing a checkup. So a pretty good outcome today. So thank God for that. So I'm not going to preach. I just came out of anesthesia. I'm a little tired, as you can probably tell, but I just want to come on here real quick. I have to get something out real fast. We've been doing our Sunday Night Lives um, for a little while now. The board behind me has I'm talking about the Great Tribulation. And something that I've learned over the years is when you're studying scriptures, um, sometimes it brings people together. Some people it drives apart because of doctrine. Knowledge can puff up anybody. We can think we're something that we're not. But I've always been one to search out truth, and I'm sure most of you are too. Some people will stay in their denominations no matter what daddy mama said, quote preachers that they've heard and never research anything, so there's all sorts of different types of people. But my goal is to get into scripture, to dissect it, to get in there to learn more, to increase in knowledge. And in doing that, you're going to find out where you're wrong sometimes. Believe it or not, everybody, I've been wrong a time or two, a couple times. Um, but doing this tribulation doctrine study, and people don't agree with me sometimes on this particular verse, but I want to get something out that I had to correct. I was talking to Brother Jamie. We've been studying and discussing scripture for years, and I hate it when he's right, but he happened to be right on this one. And I'm just going to read something to you. Daniel 9, verses 24 through 27, real quick. That's what. Now we're not going to have Sunday Night Live, Rooster, Doc, and Friends this Sunday, Memorial Day. I'm going to be out of town. I think we all agreed that it was okay to. We're going to skip this weekend. We're going to come back on June 4th at 8:45 p.m. June 4th, Sunday, 8:45 p.m. We're going to continue the subject on the Great Tribulation and get into some other things we'll talk about in just a second. No preaching tonight. I'm just going to confess something, and so we all can kind of stay on the same page. Daniel 9:24, 70 weeks are determined upon thy people and upon thy holy city to finish the transgression. Most people will agree from 24 to about the middle of 26, and I'll tell you where I'm at when I get there. Upon thy holy city to finish the transgression, to make an end of sins, to make it reconciliation for iniquity, to bring in everlasting righteousness, to seal up the vision and prophecy, and to anoint the most holy. Know therefore and understand, when you go back during this subject, we're talking about Matthew 24, Luke 21, roughly, Mark 13, I think it is. All those talk about the Great Tribulation. One calls it a great distress, vengeance, different names, same time frame. But Jesus quotes Daniel in Matthew 24, and I believe Luke and maybe Mark. He quotes Daniel, the prophecy here. And right underneath that, he says, let him that readeth or heareth, let him understand. So he's quoting back in Daniel 9 about this desolation. He talks about it, 25th verse now. Know therefore and understand that from the going forth of the commandment to restore and to build Jerusalem under the Messiah, taken down, destroyed, they were going to build another one. Under the Messiah, the prince shall be 70 weeks. That prince capitalized. And 62 weeks. And the street shall be built again, and the wall, even in troublous times. Verse 26. And after 62 weeks shall Messiah be cut off, but not for himself. And the people of the prince, this is where it gets a little different. People will start dividing here on that 26th verse. And the people of the prince, lowercase prince, shall come destroy the city and the sanctuary, and the end thereof shall be with a flood. And unto the end of the war, desolations are determined. 27 gets real sticky in disagreement. And he shall confirm the covenant with many for 1 week, which the 70 weeks, total 490 years, that last week is 7 years. Some disagree on that, and that's okay. He shall confirm the covenant with many for 1 week, 7 years. And in the midst of the week, about the middle of the week, the midst of it, he shall cause the sacrifice, and for the overspreading of abominations he shall make it desolate. That's why Jesus quoted back to Daniel about the desolation of Daniel the prophet, or spoken of by Daniel the prophet, even until the consummation, and that determined shall be poured upon the desolate. God determined to make them desolate, to punish his people. Well, we're going to get into that. Some people say that 27th verse is futuristic. I say it has passed, and that's what I want to correct myself on tonight. So I kept saying, any of you that watched last Sunday, I kept saying 63 to 70 AD. And there were some things that happened in 63, but that was not the beginning. I kept doing some reading, and then, of course, talked to Jamie, and he rubbed it in that I had my dates off. So, but in 63, I believe Pompeii was leading around that time. There was a Roman oppression, and I believe around that time, Israel didn't stand alone in their ruling, and Rome actually overtook them independence. So you go back and research all that. But the actual 7-year period of war, what they call the revolt, the Jewish revolt, or the Roman Israeli war, according to history, the dates they vary a month or so, but 66 AD unto 73 AD. And that puts that 70 AD 70, when the temple was destroyed, actually lines up in the midst of the week that all these that daily sacrifice was taken away, because the temple was tore down and done away with in 70 AD. So I just wanted to correct my dates. I stand corrected. It's not 63 to 70. It is 66 AD, the beginning of the Jewish revolt, the actual Roman-Israeli war. 66 AD to 73 AD, I stand corrected. So I want to get that across. I still believe that it's past, it's already happened, it's been fulfilled. But something I want to say real quick, and I'm gonna end it. Like I said, I'm still tired. Well, there it is. Again, June 4th, not this Sunday, but the following Sunday, 8:45 p.m. We're all going to be back on for the most part. Everybody's invited back to talk about this subject. We're also going to get into that Matthew 24. It talks about the sun, the moon, the stars. We're going to get into that. Is that literal? Is that spiritual? So this whole time we've been talking about tribulation, the rapture, them together. Because when you're talking about rapture, you're talking about pre-trib, mid-trib, or post-trib. So this tribulation subject is huge. But again, we want to stay brothers and sisters. We want to get closer together, not further apart. But we do want to get more truth. And something I want to say before I come to a close is, as we're growing together, we have to remember something. I've been doing this for a little while. Some subjects I'm more studied in than others. Some things I just, ask me a question, I don't know. But doctrine. I think one of the biggest reasons we have so many denominations is it's a pride thing. Nobody wants to have to confess before a large church congregation or a group of people, or whoever, that they need to be corrected in doctrine. If we are going to grow in doctrine, I just want to read something. Correction of doctrine is essential. I want to repeat that. Correction of, if not, everyone is always right. And we know that's dumb. That can't be possible. So whether it's me, whether it's you, whether I got my dates off, timeline, doctrine, whatever, we all have to be fine-tuned in what we believe, because otherwise we're just going off pride. So just remember, the correction of doctrine is essential. If not, everyone is always right. Let's grow together. And again, I hate it when I'm corrected by Jamie, but he did hit me on it. He is correct. So he'll rub that in next week, or June 4th, I'm sure. Anyway, God bless you. Thank you for being with me. Study on this because we're going to get into it. It has a lot to do with the things that we believe today. So until next time, I'm not going to crow because my guts kind of hurt from the procedure. But anyway, God bless you. I'll